So, Lavisha, like I said, I'm James Hearn, and I am a career coach for Warrior Way Back, our adult learning program. So, what's going to help you here? I want you to keep focus on that. You have your resume, and the whole purpose is, as an adult learner, and most adult learners have a resume, but you need to find out exactly what's currently going on in the market as far as what employers are looking for. So the goal of the day's presentation and workshop is to give you some tips and some things to really help sharpen your resume. So, like I said before, so I'm gonna talk about some tips, I'm gonna talk about best practices, and then allow an opportunity for questions and answers. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm trying to get my camera on. I'm not hiding out.
Okay, no, that's okay. It's okay. When you get a chance, that's fantastic. Okay.
All
You
right.
get a chance. Okay. But I want you to think about, Lavisha, when you think about a resume, you want to think about what, and this is a question we always get in career services, what should a resume include? So when you look at your resume, it should include, and where we always go back to, depends. And when we say that, because it depends on the situation. Your resume, you're going to have many different versions of your resume depending on what you're applying for. And
Okay.
so here's what I want you to understand, that you want to make certain you have words and phrases the employer wants to see. When you tailor your resume, you want to make sure, Lavisha, that words and phrases are there, because employers are looking for certain words, certain phrases. Social work, with a master's in social work, there's words and phrases they're looking for specifically. So you want to make sure you're aware of that. You also want to make sure there's strong action words that highlight specific accomplishments and accolades. And you want to make sure that when you put down your experiences, or in your resume, you want to make sure that you do not include anything that has opinions of yourself. For example, you are a hard worker, or you're trustworthy.
I
You
see.
want, yeah, you want to make certain, because those are opinions. You want to put things as factual that you can prove: teamwork, good communication skills, things like that. The flexibility that you can show and demonstrate. And you want to make sure you have words and phrases that's not vague, passive, or cliche. So you want your resume to be to the point. If it's vague and the person is reading it, don't understand or have trouble understanding, you will have a problem, and they're more likely going to toss out your resume. So here's the thing I want you to think about. Can you produce the required results for the job you're applying for? And and the reason why that question is, you want to make sure that whatever job you're applying for, you want to make certain that your resume is matched to that, because that's exactly what employers are looking for. So when you're doing the resume, you got to make sure it's a good match, and make sure your resume matched that job. And if you can't explain what makes you qualified for the job, then you may have to do a self-reflection and realize that this, may not be a good match. So it's important for you to look at the qualifications and look at your resume and making sure it lines up. And also pick jobs that you can do, not simply ones that you want. Sometimes we apply for jobs and you don't have the qualifications yet. As you are building your experiences, then later on you can apply to those particular jobs. But as a master in social work, you want to make sure that your qualifications match what they're looking for. Now, what does marketable mean? And the thing about it is, when you talk about your resume and you're entering the work, the field, you want to be marketable. And marketable means not your opinion. It's with the employer. The employer has a different opinion. You represent yourself, but you got to make certain that your resume and you are marketable. So that means you got to look at the skills, look at the qualifications, and look at the trainings, and making sure you're marketable so you can apply. So when you're looking at your resume, first of all, what you think, what you feel, what you know you. That's one thing. And you want your resume is going to be a representation, but also employers they're looking for something else. So you got to make sure that what they're looking for and what you have matches each other, and that's what it means to be marketable. So your goal is, if marketable means you got to have 1 year experience or 2 years experience or this specific training, then you got to make certain you're marketable, that you can go to any field, especially social work, and you at that point you can look and then explore those opportunities. Now you think of looking at your resume. Yeah, I just want you to think, Lavisha, that there's 4 types of resumes. The one that most people have is the one that's chronological. It's in order, according to your job experiences.
Yeah.
And is right. That's the one. Then you got the one that's functional, and that's the one that highlights more of your skills and more of your expertise over time. So you can really push that. If you have a lot of work experience, you may want to really focus it on those skills and those experiences, because you're applying for a certain job. So you may have looked at resumes and they start off with experiences first, and they have a lot of heavy experiences because it's related to that particular job. So you got that, and it's kind of grouped by skill. So if you have a certain level of skill, especially social work, you may have a lot of different skill sets, and you want to make sure you get your experiences that touches those experiences, works the skills. Then you got a combination resume, of course, that it highlights your work history, but also it highlights your skills and expertise. And then you got what we call a targeted resume. And a targeted resume is a resume that is really tailored for a position. And you know how you tailor your resume, you making sure that that resume fits that particular position and those requirements. So you may take out certain things as far as your chronological work history, and you really focus in on those qualifications for that particular job. Now, when you think about your resume, Lavisha, I want you to think about, you see these 8 categories in front of you? Lavisha?
I see one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I heard you.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're with me here, because I want to make sure when you look at your resume, there's 8 competencies that your resume should have. And this is what employers are looking for. You have to be able to, in your resume, when you go over your resume, you have to look at your teamwork. Can you demonstrate teamwork and collaboration? Can you demonstrate in your resume leadership skills? Can you demonstrate oral and written communication skills? Can you demonstrate digital technology, that you're proficient with technology? In your experiences, can you demonstrate a sense of professionalism and work ethic? Can you demonstrate, based on your job qualifications, critical thinking and problem solving skills? Can you show a global intercultural fluency, working with different people, different ethnicities, different cultures? And can you demonstrate some type of career management, some type of trajectory that you have demonstrated based on your experiences that you apply to different, your career, and you can show that you're moving, you're trying to always achieve something different status. But these are the competencies that a good resume has that you're able to demonstrate. I don't know if you heard about hard skills versus soft skills. And hard skills, if you can look to the left, is skills that is some type of certification, some type of training, proficiency, some type of program language or some database management, something like that, network security. Those are what you call hard skills. Hard skills. But soft skills, and a lot of employers are looking for, are personal habit traits that others could talk about you. So if you ask people regarding in your recommendation, and you may want to put things about integrity or teamwork, creativity, things like that, that based on your experiences, and you can show that problem solving. I can show in my experiences I've had opportunities to problem solve. Maybe in your job description, you put down you problem solve different things. Maybe there's things that you have demonstrated regarding critical thinking that you can say in your work experiences that can demonstrate that. So something you can really start thinking about is soft skills, things that you can really extract out, especially if you have an interview and you're talking, but you can make sure your resume reflect some of these points in your job descriptions when you talk about the things that you've done in the past. I don't know if you did this or not, but there, of course, there's resume templates and builders. And I put down the advantages and disadvantages of it. With resume templates, there are advantages. And then at the same time, there are disadvantages, things that you have to think about. An advantage of a template, you can just add content. There's no design and skill. It saves you time and money. Sometimes, like Microsoft Word, it has a template builder, resume building. You can just paste it in there. It's usually attractive and eye-appealing. It does offer tips, examples, and sometimes the information is saved online. Some of the disadvantages I put on the other side was it's a cookie cutter approach. Yeah, it can be difficult to use. It's difficult to customize, so that you want to change things is difficult. But then sometimes you lose complete control of your information because it's in a tight format. And sometimes it emphasizes more on form over function. And it can be problematic for an applicant tracking system. I'm going to talk a little bit about what is an applicant tracking system. And a lot of times, sometimes disadvantages is some of the tips is not applicable to you, and some of the strategies are not appropriate for you. So you could take a resume template build on it. It does has advantages, but then it has some disadvantages. That's something that you're going to have to decide what works for you. Make certain, Lavisha, that when you pick experiences, you got to pick the ones that's important to the reader or important to the hiring manager. So you have to talk about previous accomplishments, and you have to demonstrate how your experiences qualify for you the job, and tailor your experiences to the job posting. So you have the job posting in front of you. Make certain that your experiences, that you can tailor it to that posting. Because when an employer put a job posting out, they put it out for a reason, and they're looking for specifically certain things. Make certain that your resume is tailored to what they're looking for. And how you can demonstrate your experiences, you can use your work experience, of course, jobs, internships, anything like that. You can take, as far as education, maybe some classes you took in your MSW classes or whatever, you can pull that out. Maybe you volunteer organizations and groups. So those are things that you can demonstrate experience. There's more than just one way than work experience. So use those different categories to pull out experience, especially when it comes to job posting. Make sure you incorporate skills and competencies. If you remember those 8 competencies that we went over, in those 8 areas, you want to make certain that there's employers that look for that. So you want to make sure that they know, and you can demonstrate those 8 competencies all throughout your resume in your different job experiences. And like I said, when you demonstrate a skills or qualification or competency, make sure it's tailored to that job. So if you're looking for a job in social work or something related to it, you have to make certain that whatever they're looking for as far as a competency or a skill, if it's teamwork, collaboration, you make certain that your resume pulls those experiences out. And if, let's say, if you have strong leadership skills or you've been a team player, those are things you have to provide. And here I put down, provide examples in your resume. Your resume should have those examples. So when it comes to those bullet points, making sure that you have worked in collaborative groups, worked with a certain age range of children on a certain whatever issues, their concerns, or maybe you work with disabled students, special needs, whatever it is, you want to be able to provide examples. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this one. And I think a lot of people are really to understand or really have not really have been familiarized with what's called an applicant tracking system. Applicant tracking system is a system in which in today's times and in past, you always know that hiring managers, employers have thousands of resumes and they got to go through it all the time. But an applicant tracking system is a integrated software, and the purpose is to help recruiters and help employers get the right candidate. I don't know if you've seen those commercials from Indeed or GoDaddy or whatever. Yeah, and they always talk about they're looking for the right candidate. Well, they're looking for the right candidate because they're using the applicant tracking system. And you can see right here, 99% of the Fortune 500 companies use what's called ATS. This software, it searches, it filters, it ranks, and what it does, it looks at your resume before human eyes see it. This is digital eyes. They'll take a look at it and they'll see keywords in your resume or key phrases, and they got questions. And what it does, it puts you through this filter system. And a lot of times your resume get knocked out because you didn't have certain keywords and phrases. And one of the disadvantages I'm telling you about using a template, sometimes some of these applicant tracking systems do not recognize headers and footers. And if it doesn't recognize that template, it immediately kick it out. So just understand, a lot of companies use this applicant tracking system, and before human eyes see it, digital eyes see it. And what they do is, instead of a hiring manager having 1,000 resumes, they will probably get through the filter system, maybe 50. And then they would take a look at those 50. And right in front of you, I put down, there's 3 companies that these are the 3 major systems that's being used. So if you're familiar with, I'm gonna talk a little bit later about Handshake, in which we have, it's like Indeed, it was a college version. It filters words out. So our students get notifications from employers because they resume match up. So the key I want you to understand about this tracking system, when you're looking at your resume, understand more than likely there's an applicant tracking system, and your resume is going through it, and you want to make certain that you have keywords and phrases. And in keywords and phrases, you can find that out when you look at the job qualifications or the job specs. Take a look and you can see those words, and you see the same phrases and words are being repeated. So you want to make certain your resume has those keywords. Also, if you got a resume and if you got a header or a footer, it's best not to use it because a lot of these applicant tracking systems do not recognize it. So if you had that, please don't use a header and footer, more likely, because it's going to get thrown out. And you want to make sure your resume is in a compatible format, is compatible with any software. So when if you're looking at a template, make sure it's compatible. You want something very compatible because, like I said, these guys are using this applicant tracking system. And make sure you proofread your resume. So use keywords and phrases, make sure you proofread it, make sure there's no headers and footers, and understand that before human eyes see your resume, digital eyes is going to take a look at it. So sometimes we get people that call us in career services and they ask us why I'm not getting any responses. And sometimes they're not passing through the applicant tracking system. Their resumes getting kicked out and they're not being picked up. So just make sure that your words and phrases is linked, because that is how they're filtering through. Here's some tips just for you. What you should just lay out, make sure, like I said, your layout and format is important. We already know you have 15, 20 seconds to shine. So once your resume passed through the applicant tracker system, they're going to quickly look and just see. And some people may not use an applicant tracking system. Some of them have the old-fashioned way, but you just got to make sure that you highlight your accomplishments and making sure your resume is very focused and tailored. And then making sure you list your experiences in chronological order. from the most recent first on down, if you're going to use that format, and customize your resume for each position. I recommend that highly. Whatever position you apply to, you may want to use like I said before, the type of resume that's about the functionality, and just go straight to the position, tailor it. You cannot have a one size fit all. You need to have a resume that's fluid, and you may have the chronological one. You may have the one that's you're just going to tailor it to that particular job. Your main thing is for you to get an interview. That's your main concern. And then you want to quantify your accomplishments and making sure you can identify it. The metrics, if there's a number, if you got 3 achievements or 4, make sure you're very specific. Don't be shy. This is the time when you need to shine. And 2 key things, and I know that you're probably aware of this, but I just want to make sure that you submit your resume, make sure you're aware of deadlines. If not, please do it early. Have your resume in the right place. So if you're not on LinkedIn, please make sure you're on LinkedIn. If you're not on Handshake, make sure you're on Handshake and other recruitment tools. Along the way, make sure you do things to enhance your skills. Taking classes since you finish your master's in social work, and while you applying, go to other workshops, do things, find training. Make sure you're constantly adding to your resume, and also focus on those competencies. Remember those 8 areas I told you about. Make sure you find ways to if you're able to talk about those areas, make sure your resume reflects, but make sure you can talk about those different 8 specific areas. And tailor. Make sure you take your resume and you adjust it to each job. And it was just right here. Just normally I would go over just showing you how to match your resume. Take what's being the job spec, your resume, and making sure it matches. And the main thing is you can't see it here, but the main goal is when you see the different colors, it's just making sure everything matches. The job ad is on the left, the resume is on the right. Just pull out keywords from the job ad and make sure you find ways to insert it. So if you're talking about the role, if there's values that they're looking for, if they're looking for skills, just make sure that your resume is linked to the job ad. That's the whole purpose of that right there. There's nothing wrong with you looking at it. And some people, you can color code it and to say, okay, these are skills. I'm gonna make sure that I have my skills here. I'm gonna color code it to my values. These guys are looking for values. I'm gonna make sure that my values are reflected in my resume. And I don't know if you're familiar with Handshake. And Handshake, as I said before, you are okay, good. If you're familiar with Handshake, it's a great opportunity. So use that as well to enhance your job prospects. There's a lot of opportunities there. Make sure you put your resume on Handshake, and like I said, that applicant tracking system, Handshake use that. That's what they use. That's how now that you have a master's in social work, Handshake will send you a lot of job offers or job opportunity because your resume has keywords and phrases that it's looking for. And so, like I said, it's a great tool. Make it or use it to help expand you in your job search. So right here, I've been talking. Thank you for being patient with me. I want to give you an opportunity so we can have this interactive feedback, and hopefully things were shared that can help you. Larissa, you have any questions for me now?
Yes, Mr. Hearns. Earlier, you mentioned that headers are not a good idea because certain applications would not be able to see the headers.
To read it, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing, Alicia, as far as applicant tracking system. That's the only thing about it is you got to understand if it's filtering resumes, and then if you got these different programs have different headers and footers, it doesn't recognize. So they recommend is if you can get back to just being simple and just put the information in, but don't use a header or footer. Just type it in, and simplistic is better. because you don't know who's using what system.
Well, I have to say I've relied heavily on headers
Okay.
to distinguish between among different skills. Like
Okay.
I'm naming.
No, I think you're talking the wrong thing. No, I'm talking about no, not the headers on the resume. I'm
Oh,
talking about when you know how you do a Word document, there's a header and a footer. Yeah, I'm not talking about the
okay.
head.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not
Okay.
talking about the categories. Yeah, you need headers like work experience, but
I'm
there's if you type a document, you know there's you can put a header, and that header can go on every page, or a footer. It can go on every page. Whatever you put on the first page can go to the last page. That's what I'm talking
So
you're
it's
about.
different between like a
both
heading and a header.
Right,
okay.
right. Yeah, you're talking heading.
Yes.
That's not a header. It's a heading.
And I'm actually referring to headings, and I'm
Yes, headings.
thinking,
Yes.
boy, that would really
No,
curtail
that you're
my
right.
resume.
Right.
Headings
Well,
are
then I'm
good.
guilty. I'm guilty as well because I got nothing but headers.
Okay,
Yeah, but that's what no headers and footers. So no, but the headings you're good.
all right,
Okay.
okay. And on one page, you
Hmm.
mentioned use traditional fonts. There are two of which I've used and
Okay.
have used forever more. Are you referring to Times New Roman and
Hmm.
Arial? I really like Arial,
Yeah.
and I
Either one.
see
Hmm.
a lot of resumes
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
Arial.
Hmm. Those are the two common ones. Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any others I may want to choose from?
No, I think those two are fine because they standard and a lot of people use it.
Okay.
So that's fine.
And as you went on, I was able to understand more clearly when you stated customize the resume and
Mm.
tailor it to the job description.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Now, is that the description with the qualifications or the description of the job, the actual job? Uh,
You have a job description that has what they're looking for, the qualifications, very
okay,
detailed.
it's
Right.
both of those.
Right. That's the one you want because it's telling you exactly what they're looking for. You may have a slight blurb about the job itself, but you want the one that actual job specifications that this is what they're looking for. And
All right.
it has the experiences and all the other things. So that's the one, the one that has the most detail. And that's the one you want to make sure that you match as close as possible.
Got it. And I really could appreciate the color coding on the examples because I
Mhm.
think I was seeing, I don't want to sound like I think I know absolutely what he
Mhm.
means, is that whatever was orange in the job description was depicted as being orange on the resume, showing
Absolutely.
that there was a connection or
According,
a
right.
match
Mhm.
between the two. Now,
Yes.
um, would it be such that I would be using the exact same words that are in the resume? I mean, in the job
Oh
description?
yeah, absolutely. You can
Or,
use it.
okay,
Yeah, you can use listen,
okay,
listen. You can use the word. If the word is looking for teamwork or team player, you can use that in your resume. Absolutely.
okay,
It's just like certain words, certain phrases. You just want to make sure that you're able to take those words and make sure your resume. If it's looking for highly organized, and if it says that, then make sure you put highly organized in your resume.
okay, all right. And as far as being highly organized, I wouldn't want to say, or would I want to say verbatim, I'm highly organized, or would I want to give an example about my organization skill accomplishing something?
Maybe you want to put that in the type of job that you had, and maybe you may put down, you know how you put down like each bullet point of what you did, your
Yes,
duties,
I have.
and you may want to put down highly organized, organized. You're starting off with organizing team meetings, whatever, to show that particular action verb. You want to show it, and you want them to know that if you're highly organized, then you organize something. You put that down as one of your duties.
Which I did, yes.
And you're able to demonstrate that. That's it. So it's okay for you to take words, because those words are universal.
Okay.
Organized, effective communicator. Those are words that, you can apply. It's just that when it was color coded, it was just to give you an example of just matching your resume to the job qualification. And all you want to do is just making sure you take a look, is you see those words in the qualifications, what they ask for, just grab some of that and just insert it in your resume.
I understand.
Mhm.
Okay. Pull out keyword. No headers. Okay.
No headers or footers. No, you can have headings. Okay.
I'll just go ahead. And I understand now what where my misunderstanding came up here. And I understand that we are referring to headers versus and footers. Okay,
Yes.
that's a no.
Mhm.
Let's see here. And this session is being recorded. May I have it so that I can replay it later?
Sure.
Is that okay? Is that
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So
Go
we
ahead.
post all of them to our YouTube site,
Mhm.
and you can find that on our website too. The
Mhm.
link to the YouTube, it has all of our career services things and all of our sessions on there.
Yeah.
This should be posted in about a week. It's usually because we have to
Okay.
produce it.
Okay, that's amazing. I really appreciate that.
Mhm. And we have other things I've had for our career service that I talked about, interview tips and different things. So you can just feel free to go back and find whatever is applicable and take advantage of it.
All right. And are there any other sessions of its kind that you've done tonight?
Yes, I can pull those up for you. Let me see.
Mhm.
Here.
Okay.
We actually have a something that might be interested in.
Okay.
We're having a job fair specifically for adult learners coming up next month. That one's more about like government and public service positions, but that might be interesting to you as well. So I want to put that on your radar. We don't have registration open quite yet. That's why I haven't shared the link, but keep an eye out for that. We also have a general career fair. James knows a lot about this too. On March 1st on campus, there's a virtual one on March 2nd.
Yes.
Let's see here. So these are our sessions this semester. So we're in February now. So this is the one we're at tonight. Next week, we have one on library services, which, I mean, if you're not in classes right now, might not be as helpful, but it's still, I mean, you still have access to those. But our next one with career services is we have our interview skills on March 21st. And then our career fair is going to be March 23rd.
Okay.
I'm not sure what your financial status is, but this one might be helpful as well since you just graduated. If you are managing some loan repayment, that might be helpful to attend as well.
I will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. No, this, even the title really grasped my attention, saying rebuilding your resume, because
Mhm.
I did have to do an incredible lot of rebuilding.
Mhm.
And I don't think I'm done yet until I feel
Okay.
it reaches, well, just tailoring it to the job descriptions is a form of rebuilding, right?
That's exactly what it is. That's
Along the
exactly,
way.
absolutely, absolutely. Yes, and that's why. So hopefully it's been helpful for you. That's the whole purpose of today's session, was to give you, I don't know if you're familiar with the applicant tracking system.
I
This
was
kind of,
not.
and that was the whole purpose, to let adult learners know this is what's currently going on. So now, before human eyes look at things, digital eyes are looking at it.
All right. Well, may I say thank you both so much.
Sure.
This has
Sure.
really been an eye opener. As long as
Okay.
I've been creating resumes and recreating resumes. This has been very special in my pursuit here.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. You've had some really great perspectives, and it sounds like it was helpful, and that's our goal. So
Yeah.
Yes.